Let's learn new paper techniques. In this video, we're going to cover tear, fold and cut, loops, and spiral cut. When people think about tearing paper, most think it's just ripping the paper apart, but this can leave some uneven lines. You can tear straight lines in paper if you pinch and go slowly, or you can create a longer straight line by folding the paper back and forth. This creates a strong crease, and if you rip the paper slowly, you will get a straight line. You can cut paper even without scissors. It leaves a nice texture line on the edge of the paper. You can also cut paper into small pieces and create them as a collage element. This works too if you bring in other colors. If you rip strips of paper, you can use other techniques on them, like causing them to curl by rolling them up. Remember to pinch a curl to help it keep its shape. Let's learn about folding and cutting paper. You can create interesting shapes by folding and cutting paper. Remember that we are going to cut on the fold, not the open side. When you cut on a fold, you can create a shape with symmetry that cuts both sides at the same time. One common way people use this is to make hearts. You can use a fold and cut technique to also create patterns. I'm going to make a pattern of circles. Notice how I turn the paper and not the scissors. If you need to, you can go back and fix mistakes, but if you cut too much, it's time to start over. This piece of paper can be used with a loop or as a flat shape on a collage. You can also make the paper pop up by pinching it in certain places. Another way to use a fold and cut is making 3D pop-up cards. If you cut two parallel lines and fold that flap back and forth, you can push them inwards and create a pop-up card. Next, let's learn how to make loops. Loops are like rolls, but they are smaller on one side and shaped like a water droplet. You can make loops out of strips of paper, so I am cutting long rectangles. The first way to make a loop is to flip the paper backwards and glue it. I'm going to add glue to the bottom. Don't forget to pinch the glue to give it a chance to stick to the other side of the paper. This is one big loop. Loops with smaller paper can be added on to create volume. Loops can also be made with two pieces of paper. You can use loops to make different shapes, or you can start to build more than one and create a chain. Simply add another piece in and glue it. Lastly, let's learn how to make a spiral cut. Most spirals are in a circle, and one trick you can use to make a circle is create a square and cut off the big corners. When you've done that, you've created an octagon or a stop sign, and it's time to cut off the baby corners. This creates a circle ready for our spiral. To create a spiral, you need to cut inwards all the way to the middle, and it's important to turn the paper, not your scissors. If you need to, you can move your hand to a different part of the paper, but you want your scissors to stay in the same place. Their job is really just to go up and down. If you want your spiral to have space in between the lines, you need to cut a second skinny spiral. This part will be removed and it creates a gap. Spirals can be used as a flat shape or a 3D pop-up. You can also use other shapes to create a spiral. Here's an example with a rectangle. I'm going to turn the paper to follow the rectangle shape all the way until the center. This creates a rectangle spiral that I can use flat or 3D. Now we know new paper techniques.